The other thing that I probably didn't realise was that conversation between two people, one with aphasia and one who didn't have aphasia, it's no longer a sort of peer conversation. For most conversations between adults, you're basically of equal status. Whereas I think for most people with aphasia, there's a certain thing that you can't do. So you always need your partner to do that for you. It's no longer one-on-one. You're looking up to somebody saying, how can I help? How can I get some help from you here? And that's probably been quite a big thing for me to realise.
Hi, and welcome everybody, and we hope you enjoy this podcast called On the Tip of My Tongue. Now, I'm Rob Edwards.
And I'm Jonathan Hirons.
And this podcast is a follow-up to a film which Jonathan made about aphasia. So, what is aphasia? Well, it's a condition caused by some kind of injury to the brain, which is often, could be a stroke, or could be just falling off a bike. And it affects your ability to use language in all its forms. Speaking, writing, reading, sending text, whatever. 350,000 people in the UK suffer from a debilitating condition called aphasia. Fewer than half this number suffer from Parkinson's, and yet most people have heard of Parkinson's, whilst almost nobody has heard of aphasia. In this episode of On the Tip of My Tongue, we have a fascinating conversation with Iain Stansfield and Dr. Suzanne Beeke. Iain experienced a stroke about a year ago, leading to a diagnosis of aphasia. He recently participated in Dr. Beeke's innovative therapy group, Better Conversations with Aphasia, a program developed at UCL based on her research into how aphasia impacts family interactions. Join us as Iain shares his experiences and insights gained from working with Dr. Beeke, offering a unique perspective on communication, therapy, and the journey of living with aphasia. Loving the podcast? Subscribe for more episodes and support the journey. Your donations help keep the show thriving. Please go to tipofmytonguefilm.com. Thank you for being part of our community.
So Iain, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, well, until fairly recently, I was a solicitor in a law firm in the sort of city of London. I then got cancer for a while, and then as soon as I was in remission from cancer, I had a stroke. So now I'm not working.
But I know you're a student.
Yeah, indeed. I'm a student of history of art. So I'm doing a sort of second degree. Yeah. You know, it's 40 years on from my first degree. Yeah, in history of art, which is very good.
So Iain, we're having this conversation because you came to one of our intensive conversation groups, which finished about a month ago now, yeah. I think it was. And the group was delivering the Better Conversations with Aphasia training. And there were 5 couples who came to the group, you and your partner being one. And there was a range of people with a range of different aphasia severity and a range of communication skills and strategies. And I guess just for a bit of context, the objective of the group was to get you all to think a bit about how conversations work, all those unconscious rules that we follow that we don't know anything about. Yeah. And also then thinking about individually your own conversations together. So you did some video recording for us of a conversation with your partner. And we looked at some clips of that to look at what was working well in the conversation, some nice strategies that you'd developed, but also what was a bit more challenging. Yeah. And then thought about some goals to work on and to practice throughout the group. Yeah. So it'd be really interesting to hear your reflections on what you got out of that process.
So nobody had particularly watched a video of myself and Kirsty having a conversation with each other, and conversation is probably one of the most useful things you can have with a partner, to to progress things and understand things. And one of the things that became apparent for the way that I contributed to a conversation was that, well, two things. One was I don't inject any humour into a conversation, partly because I've got a sort of freezing effect from the stroke. So my impressions, the way that I react isn't reflective in my face. So I've got to inject a bit more humour into my interjections. That was the first thing. The second thing was, and this is something that Kirsty has to. Well, it's about recognising the fact that he's not angry about what we're trying to have a conversation about. I go into a period where I'm listening, and my face is doing the thing that my face does. So you can be misled. I think misled into feeling that how come this guy's angry? So those are the two things that we've been working on since then.
And were those things that I'm wondering how much the video and the video reflection allowed you to explore those things together. Do you think that's a conversation that you would have had about interacting without using the video?
We wouldn't have had it without it being videoed. I think it's the thing that a video gives you a chance to look at yourself critically, rather than reflecting on something back, out of memory. So, looking at it with some expert people as well, and taking it one by one really helped us to look at it and reflect on it better than unless if it wasn't videoed.
Must have been hard seeing yourself on video.
Yeah, it did a bit. I mean, I didn't realise the things that were happening with my face. So that was a bit dramatic. But there's quite a lot of dramaticness to see about yourself with aphasia. There's lots of different things that you're having to look at, and that was just one of them.
So has anything changed for you after the group? What are your thoughts on it now? How helpful has it been?
It's been very helpful. I think for the partners, there's been a real the conversations for patients. I think are fairly clear, and there's something that we can work on with the conversations. I think it was interesting for the people with aphasia, seeing how their partners were able to take lessons from what was happening in the room. So you would see another partner having to support somebody in a way that you hadn't done. So it gave us sort of a key that one person was doing that you weren't doing, and the other way around. And I think for the partners, it was a real eye opening for them, and for the people with aphasia also, we got to see the real range of access to language that people have. For me, there were people that were getting better handle on it, and there were some who were still struggling with things, and it gave me a real sense of what a challenge it was for everybody.
Do you think, what would Kirsty say in terms of her experience of the training? Would she say anything had changed about conversations, do you think? Yeah,
I think so. We've taken the questions, the things from the video, and tried to put them into action, and I think we've seen that happen. I mean, it's a long process, isn't it? I'm forever in recovery in this, and probably always will be. But yeah, that's been a real sort of that's been one thing that we've been able to look and gain from the conversation. The other thing that I probably didn't realise was that a conversation between two people, one with aphasia and one who didn't have aphasia, is you're no longer it's no longer a sort of peer conversation, for most conversations between adults, you're basically of equal status. Whereas I think for most people with aphasia, or maybe all people with aphasia, there's a certain thing that you can't do. Whether it's sorting something out with a third party or just speaking. So you always need your partner to do that for you, and so you're no longer, it's no longer one-on-one. You're very much sort of you're looking up to somebody, saying, how can I help? How can I get some help from you here? That's probably been quite a big thing for me to realise that I'm always going to be asking for help now. And I think I sort of sense that with the other partners as well.
Yeah. Do you think, finally, any thoughts about any ways that we could change the training to help you feel more independent with conversations?
Yeah, so like I said at the start, conversation is a basic tool. You need it to get through the day. And that, I'm sure that, if there were a sort of part two, you could get into a situation where you weren't just basically making conversations work because they got to work, because it's getting around to doing something positive. How can it work if you're getting around to doing something which is a problem? Where there is a real thing that needs to be got round. In family life or whatever the relationship is, where sometimes people are not in control of a conversation. Maybe the partner isn't in control, or the person with aphasia. How then could you navigate those kind of conversations, which probably has as different, not different necessarily, but alternative ways through.
So there's more challenging conversations that we all have every day about.
Yeah.
Where we fundamentally disagree with something, or can't come to a shared decision on something,
exactly.
Or difficult issues going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, part two. I like it. We'll work on it.
Okay.
Thanks, Iain.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this On the Tip of My Tongue podcast. We hope you found it helpful and informative. Now, if you want more help and information about strokes and aphasia, please go to stroke.org.uk, say Aphasia, that's SAY, aphasia, all one word, .org, or the aphasia page of nhs.uk. Enjoying the podcast? Subscribe for more episodes and support the journey. Please go to tipofmyfilm.com in the description. Thank you. This has been a Buffalo Lounge production. Please follow Buffalo Lounge on all the socials.